What is up, everybody? This is Recap or Rewind. I'm J-Lag.
And I'm NB.
And today we're doing something a little different. We are recapping Sharp Objects, which is a mini-series on HBO. And we're doing like a halfway point check-in. Mm-hmm. So we're doing a podcast for episodes 1 through 4 because the season goes until 8 episodes. The mini-series goes to 8 episodes. And just a little quick background. It's based on a book by the same name, but this is just covering the TV show. So we're just going to be talking about the TV show as it is right now on HBO, and just wanted to talk about the characters, the mystery that's happening right now,
and sort of where we are in the process of watching this.
Yeah.
What our predictions are, what we suspect.
Yeah.
And a big part of this too is that we want to open the discussion up to like our fans on YouTube, on iTunes, and we want you guys to contribute to the conversation.
Absolutely.
We have questions for you guys because I'm like really confused and I want to know what you guys think. So make sure you guys join the conversation and you comment below on our YouTube video. Just be careful, like don't spoil it for anyone who may be not caught up or
haven't
whatever.
caught up yet. Yeah, so this is obviously, before we get into it, it's spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't caught up to episode 4.
1 to 4, yeah.
And also for anyone who's not a book reader, who haven't read the books. I haven't read the books.
Yeah.
Envy hasn't read the book. So just kind of like keep your comments to yourselves if it hasn't been uncovered in the show, so we can keep it entertaining and enjoyable for everybody who's going to be listening and watching the show.
Yeah. So we're going to start by breaking it down by characters, right?
Yes.
I think that's kind of the easiest way to sort of summarize the past 4 episodes by like each character.
And as always with our recap rewind stuff, just make sure you guys stay tuned to the end because we're going to bring back our
recap roundup
and do our MVPs, LVPs, WTF moments, and best lines.
Which was really hard because we're used to doing it with Riverdale.
Which is a haha.
And this is like very like dark and dreary. So stick around for that. Let's do it. Podcast.
So just overall, before we get into the characters, what have you been thinking about this series so far?
So I like it. I do like it.
The end.
That is all. No, I like it. I think episode 4 really left me with like more, like wanting more.
For sure.
And a lot of the recaps that I've been reading, they're saying that like everything's going really slowly, and I kind of agree with that. Like I feel like they're giving us like a little bit.
Yeah.
I want more because there's only 8 episodes. So I'm interested to see like how this back end is gonna like unravel.
Yeah.
And if it's gonna be a bit faster.
Right. I mean, it's hard not to compare it to what HBO's done in the past with like miniseries and like kind of closed-ended series. So the ones that kind of come to my mind are Big Little Lies, which the directors I think are involved in this particular series. But also this one is very reminiscent of True Detective season 1. And we talked about this offline about kind of like how it's got this like southern kind of mystery, sweaty, detective, humid, like the poor detective's like always sweating. Yeah, it's got that feel to it, that like very eerie vibe, like small town murder mystery.
Yeah.
So
there's
it's very
a lot
interesting.
of different themes too that they explore that are very subtle. The show is very subtle. That's the thing.
Right.
Like if you're not paying attention, you're not gonna know what's happening.
Yeah, you have to pay like close attention. This is not a show that you like watch while you're cooking.
For sure. Exactly.
It's like definitely a show that you have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
There's stuff on the screen. If you haven't checked it out just yet, check out our top 5 things that you may have missed in the very first episode premiere, because there's like signs and things that show up that like I barely noticed. It was only until I was starting to read like a bunch of other stuff that I was like, oh, true. So it's very interesting to see how they
the
dive in. Yeah, the style is very different.
It falls into the same theme of like what the show is supposed to be.
Right.
And apparently we should have known this because we in the film business.
Oh, good.
But apparently like the tone of this episode was very like they use different colors.
You're talking about episode 4.
Episode 4, sorry, yeah. Red and green, which is like a symbol of like lust and like jealousy and like being like emotional.
I can't get that far into it.
It's very like Alfred Hitchcock, I guess.
Yeah.
So like I was like, guys, I don't know that. Like I'm just watching this show, like barely. Like
I guess you get those feels anyway. I feel like that the show emotes those feelings anyway, and some things are literally spelled out for us. Like you see things written in certain areas where she's like feels scared, or like, you know, there's certain
she's like, be scared.
It's scared right now. Yeah. So I think that like we see them because she etches things into her arms and like her body. That's that's the spin that's very interesting. So since we're there, let's talk about Camille Preaker.
Yeah, let's get into
the characters.
Her characters.
Yeah. So She's an interesting character. She's the person who
She's the
is
main.
investigating. Well, she's a reporter.
She's the main girl.
From St. Louis, and she's just investigating from her small town because she came from this town.
Right.
And there was 2 girls that were murdered.
Right.
So.
And her boss,
Right.
who we sort of see like sporadically throughout the 4 episodes, he's kind of like forcing her to like investigate further and like search her town, and he's sort of letting her kind of find herself through this journey, I guess, which is really cute of him to do.
Yeah, he's trying to like get her to like deal with her own history and her past so she can move forward. It's really interesting that he has like this so much investment in her.
Does she know that he's sick?
I would assume that she does,
Because
but
in this episode we see that
he's cancer.
He has cancer.
He's like getting
I
chemotherapy.
don't know if she knows that he's sick. I feel like she doesn't.
Maybe not. But like,
it's so far removed from the main storyline that like it confuses me as to why they even cut back and forth to it.
I'm like, when is this gonna play a role? But like, maybe it's just
I think
like an
what's
extra
important
detail.
to it now is the fact that like she's already submitted the story to him, the story that he wanted. She submitted it. It's done. So now all she's really doing is like continuing further and investigating further for her own curiosity, I guess, or like for him. So that's important too, I guess, to know that.
Well, he also encouraged her to continue to keep going.
But like her job's kind of technically already done, but like whatever.
So she's writing this piece, whatever, and she's an interesting character too because we see the entire world through her lens and her eyes. And obviously, like we said in the first episode, we notice a lot of like things that are etched into random things or written into random things. Like there's like writing on her car, writing on her table, writing like in her dashboard. Like there's just so many things that you have to pay attention to. And from our research and what we looked up, it's supposed to be like a reflection of her psyche in that moment. Mm-hmm. So like when she's starting to feel like something's wrong, you see a word that says wrong, or like, you know, there's a lot of things that you have to pay attention to in the show that kind of feedback
there's
to
everything
her.
about her. Like her clothes are always black and like loosely fitted.
Right. She's also a
body
drunk.
language. Yeah, she's like an alcoholic.
She's an alcoholic. She's got a lot of issues. We learn by episode 3-4, we learn a little bit about her past with this young girl. I don't remember her name, but she meets this young girl at the rehab center that she goes into. I think it's just at the outskirts of town. I'm not really sure, but like because her mom tries to visit, I think at one point in time, and she doesn't like go into the place for whatever reason. So that was really interesting because by episode 1, you see the reflection of the girl. You don't know who the hell she is, like what her situation is, and then by episode 3, you realize like because
you're thinking it's the sister that she lost,
right?
But it's actually like another girl that she was friends with,
and also like the sister. So the sister died at a very young age. We don't really know what happened with her. I'm assuming like some sort of illness. Like she had a seizure and then she died or something. But that definitely greatly affected the entire Preaker family because like the mom is like really messed up or whatever because of it. It seems that there was some sort of like, I don't know, Camille just seems like the character that is been painted as the black sheep of the family. Like the mom never loved her. She was not the favorite. Like she obviously like the mom like felt really harshly about like losing her favorite daughter essentially. So that she couldn't even like love Camille at all. So there's kind of that situation. What else
do you think about her performance as Amy Adams? Like
I think she's doing great. I mean, I think this is the thing with Camille Preaker's character. I don't really know what to expect from her because she was presented in a very much like a here I am, like I'm tormented, but she holds so much in. And I think that's what the author said too. There was no real way to really present Camille and her damage without really showing her like literal scars on her body because she internalizes so much. She doesn't scream at her mom. She doesn't say like you're crappy mom. She doesn't. She drinks, but everybody drinks. So like you don't see it in her. So Amy Adams is playing this very like you can see it conflicting in the back of her eyes, or she like her sighs where she like sees her mom like act in a certain way and she just has to like hold it all in. So you can see this like where all that self-infliction comes from. It's because she plays this character that's very much like muted and like she can't feel like she can do a lot of things. Because at the same time, we've also learned that like Camille has a very wild child past. Like she was the one that like the mom couldn't control, and she was always like running around late. So like you don't see that.
She was like the popular girl like in high school.
And you don't see that in adult Camille. You only see
all.
that in like the past memories or whatever. So I don't know if we're gonna see a shift or we're gonna notice like when that changes, or if like adult Camille is gonna like unleash eventually and be like, you know what?
I mean, ultimately it's gonna come to that. I think the showdown is probably gonna have to be between like the mom and her, for sure.
Right.
Her demons stem from the mom for sure, and you see that the most in episode 4, where like she can't, like when her mom like loses it on her at the end, she kind of starts like crying a little bit, and it's the first time you see it actually affect her,
right? Because
otherwise she's sort of just like numb to it and she's been ignoring it. So I'm excited to see how that's gonna unfold and how she's gonna get to the bottom of all this, because I feel like she is definitely gonna solve it.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads me to my next point, which is like, do you think she's gonna solve it with hot new detective guy?
Mindy Kaling's husband, Danny.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think
do you think he's gonna play a big part in it?
I think so. I think they wouldn't have him in there if it wasn't the case. Like he's either gonna die at some point in time, or he's gonna help him solve the case, and like he's gonna get to bone her, which is cute. Like, and it's HBO at the end of the day. Like the way I look at it, it's like there's got to be some like sexy love story in there. So, but obviously there's like, it's tumultuous.
Here's the thing, guys. Like obviously, she's like I always want like a love story. Like fine, whatever. But like I wanted them to like bone in episode 1, and like it didn't happen.
Right.
And then like in episode 4, I was like, I don't even want them to do this anymore. I was like, let's just like find out who the F like is killing these girls. Yeah. And then like he like fingers her in the forest, and I was like, oh okay, like this is it's happening now, cool. So like I didn't know how to feel about it at that point, because I was kind of like over it. Then I'm like okay, I'm done.
That's a great question, because I feel like it's.
Well, I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, is it cheesy? Is it cheesy for them to be in love and like working on this case together? Like, I don't know.
I think at the end of the day, the story is like a murder mystery. It's not a love story. So whatever relationships kind of like ensue because of it, I'm into it.
True.
But they have to feel natural.
Yeah.
Like he fingered her in the forest because she was triggered in that moment to feel sexualized. So like she wanted it in that moment.
It definitely needed it. Like looking back, I'm like, no, it totally makes sense.
It's not like she like
it just catches you off guard, which I think it's meant to do that too. It's supposed to like make you feel awkward and like, where did this just come from?
She's not going on like Tinder dates and like having sex, like anonymous sex. Like she's literally like in the moment. She wants to do it,
and she wanted to
do it,
so true.
And she wanted to do it in a certain way. She didn't even let him kiss her.
Yeah,
she was like, nope. Give me your hand and put it down my pants. I was like, okay. Like, I was like, this is so intense. And it was very intense. Like, thinking about that moment, very intense.
Yeah. But then we have a really cute moment after with them when like she kisses him.
Pretty hard.
And then he's like, oh, now we're gonna kiss? Yeah. Like, girl, calm down.
She's sending mixed
signals. So yeah, but yeah.
So there's that relationship. I'm not really sure. What do you think? Do you think that he's gonna play a part?
Obviously, like I want them to fall in love, and like go back to St. Louis together and like live happily ever after. But this Gillian Flynn, like it's not gonna be a happy ending. Like, have you seen Gone Girl? So I don't think that's gonna happen. But I don't know. Let's see. He's cute. I like watching him. I think together they'll make like a good like friendship. Maybe I don't know.
Like a little,
but you're right, it's HBO, so like more sex.
Just more sex.
Another person who she sort of like starts talking to more is I think Natalie Keene's brother at the end of episode John 4. He comes up to her at the bar, so she gets this whole conversation with him, and he sort of like talks more about his sister,
right,
and who she was in Philadelphia. She was kind of violent towards like another girl, but then he drops the bomb that like Emma was friends with Natalie,
as well as Anne. Is it Anna or Anna?
Anna. Yeah,
Anne. Whatever.
And then, like Camille's like, huh? Like she's like, she didn't know that.
Yeah.
So like she's shook, and like she drives out right away
to look for
Emma. That's sort of where Camille's stories ended at this point.
So since we're already there and like we're all caught up to episode 4, we might as well talk about it. Do you think that there's two things, because we kind of discussed this offline, but my thing was Emma is in danger because we're thinking that someone hated these 3 girls and
it's two things. Either she's running to save Emma because she thinks Emma's gonna be next,
right,
or she's like, my sister's sketch,
and she didn't tell me about this,
and she knew something more, and she didn't tell me,
and she's like,
so
it's a suspect
2 of those
now.
things.
Yeah.
I'm thinking she's scared for Emma's life because as she's driving, she's seeing images of like Emma being dead.
No, I think she's seeing images of like the other
girl
girls
being dead. So I think
yeah.
she's like, oh my god, my sister's gonna be dead. Like,
Yeah.
so I think it's like she's scared.
And I think the final shot before it cuts to credits in episode 4 is like Emma kind of like turning while she's rollerblading, and then a car kind of
the
coming toward
on
her, and then it cuts, and I'm like,
Yeah.
ugh! So it was a great cliffhanger. But I don't know, like I'm not really sure what to think. The first time I watched it, I was like, oh my god, Emma's gonna get kidnapped. But as we talked about it, like a little bit more offline, I was like, yo, she's a sketch ball. Like
here's
maybe
the thing,
it's her.
guys. At the end of the day, the killer or the killers or whoever is involved or whoever knows something more has to be part of the main cast. Otherwise, we're not going to give an F about any of this. So
it can't be like a full left turn.
Yeah,
be like,
it can't be.
It was
it
like
can't
the
be
janitor.
that. But it has to be someone who we've known and who we've been with all season.
Yeah.
So I think they can't just get rid of the core women. Like they can't just be like, okay, she's kidnapped and she's gone.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see like what part she plays. I think according to a lot of people who read the books, there was a little bit of crossover in our conversations, like in our discussions. People have said that Emma is exposed to be her half sister very later on in the series. Like she doesn't, or in the book, sorry.
Oh, like
so
you don't know who she is.
You don't know who she is, but I think the very first episode we find out that that's her half sister, and like she's the one who's rollerblading. It's like the same person. So I wonder if there is some sort of unfold that we weren't supposed to experience, and they couldn't do it because of like television or whatever. But
so moving on, we can move on to Mommy.
No, before we move on to Mommy. So lastly, Camille's also got this weird like looky look with one of the characters in the show who we haven't been introduced to yet.
Yes.
It's the person who's like the drama teacher, I guess.
So is it the same guy? I don't know for sure.
I think it's the same guy because he was at
maybe.
the funeral. So he was at the kid's funeral. I think the one that died, the most recent one. He was at the funeral, and he like kept eyeing Camille, and then he kept like dipping when he had an opportunity.
He looked mad, basically. Every time he looked at her,
he looked mad or sketched out or whatever. So we're assuming like maybe they used to be like high school lovers, or
and then she sees him later at the bar.
Yeah.
And then again he looks at her and he like gives her like
leaves,
an evil eye, side eye, and then he just like dips again.
And I'm pretty sure he's the drama teacher who like held Emma's hand, like, which was weird too.
Yeah. Well, he didn't hold it. She kind of grabbed it.
She grabbed it, but he didn't pull away.
Yeah.
So
well, he did. He walked away.
Well, he walked away after, but like that was a pretty long.
I don't know. Yeah, there's something sketch there.
There's something sketch there, and I just feel like if that is the case, Emma's more diabolical than we think, and maybe he has something to do with it. Like maybe he was the muscle behind the murders. I definitely feel like this is a 2-person job.
Yeah.
Killing girls, like the fact that they were able to carry the bodies over to certain places, like you can't do that by yourself.
Yeah.
I just think that like usually in murders, there's usually like a group of people. It's not like just one.
Which is kind of cheesy, but yeah.
But yeah. So there's that. That's Camille, and kind of like wrapping up her. We kind of touched upon a few of the characters, but let's get into a little bit more. The next one is Adora. Her name is Krellin. Is it Adora Krellin, or is it Preaker?
That's her second marriage.
Oh, the second marriage. Got it. So what do you think of her?
I mean, I feel like she's crazy AF.
She's insane.
Like, there's no one crazier than her. Like, she's like, I feel so bad for Camille because I'm like, you had a crazy ass mom.
You had a really bad mom.
Yeah. I wish I knew more about the dad, like Camille's real dad.
Yeah, which we haven't really.
They haven't really mentioned anything
for a
about
hot
him.
second. I thought it was the chief, like the sheriff, but I'm like, no. Camille met him in the first episode, and she was like, "Nice to meet you." So it wasn't her, obviously.
Yeah.
Or it wasn't him.
But we get to a little bit more about the mom in this episode, right? Where she, the chief, Vickery, comes to visit her.
Yes.
And he's like, I want to talk to you about your girls, whatever. And like they were kind of having this flirtatious conversation.
Yeah.
And I was so like shook. I was like, wait, what? I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
Is she just flirting with him because she wants to use him for more information, or like she's trying to get something out of him, or like do they have a history that we don't know about?
I mean, I think we're supposed to understand that there is like some sort of relationship that they have. Like from what I know about the Preaker family and the Preaker farms or whatever, is like that family obviously like runs a lot of the industry within Wingate.
Town, yeah.
So he probably knows her really well as this like well-to-do like rich woman, and he's the sheriff. So essentially they like they would know each other really well. Like, he knows her family history, I'm sure, and like she probably knows all about him too. Like, they probably were in the same high school because like of their ages or whatever. So I can definitely see them having some sort of history, even romantic history. Where that plays a role, I don't know. Like, I just feel like right now it's putting a wedge between her and her husband, Alan. But beyond that, I don't know like what else there is between the two of them. I don't know. I think that like, yeah, it'll be really interesting. But yeah, to your point, I think that like Adora is absolutely insane. Like, she's just like, she's obviously got a lot of issues. She doesn't know how to, she even says it, I think she admits it in this episode. She's like, I don't know how to love you, but I just want to. She's like, I want to take care of you, and I want to, but I just don't know how. Yeah. Like, I've never known how to take care of you. At the end of the episode,
she loses it on Camille when she walks in at night.
Right.
So as she's talking to Camille, she's like, she somehow expected Camille to save her. Right. And she thought having Camille would somehow like get Adora's mother to love her. Adora more.
Yeah.
And Camille's like, what?
Which is like what everybody in like the 21st century, like everybody has kids to like fix their own problems, which is not true. But
so it's just ingrained in who she is. Like, she's just a really sad person. Yeah. But then you see moments with her and like Emma, like really like soft,
literally
moments,
like they were dancing to Tupac in the kitchen. Like
I don't get it.
She really doesn't know how to handle Camille. I think it's one of those moments where like you look at somebody and like they're so easy to like for you to face the truth. Like they scare you, they intimidate you.
Yeah, is it because Camille is so different from her and like Emma's more like her?
Yeah, 100%. I think she can control her. Yeah. She was never able to control Camille, so she blames everything on Camille. Yeah. Like literally, like she ripped her hand open in the rose bushes and she blames Camille. She's even like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Even she says something and the husband was like, why are you blaming her? Like, she had nothing to do with that.
Like it's not always about her. Yeah. So I think that crazy. Like, I think just generally Camille's become the scapegoat for her mom's like depression and her own anxieties and her own issues that she's had mentally. She puts it all on Camille, and at this point in time, Camille being this grown-ass adult coming back into this town, living under her mom's roof, like it's triggering 100%. Like she's about to crack. Like, I'm waiting for her to be like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Like, she's pissed.
What do you think she means when she says, now you've come back and all I can think is you smell ripe, which is the title of the episode 4?
Right. I think she wanted to say something, but then she realized that she's like, you're fucking drunk. Like, you smell disgusting. Oh, okay. I think that's where she was going with it. Like, she almost like, it's like she wants to, and she does say it. She's like, she wants to reach out and like try to love Camille. She just doesn't know how to do it. She only knows how to insult Camille. Like, that's her relationship with her daughter. And it's really sad to see it because Camille literally just absorbs it. She doesn't know how to fight back. She doesn't know how to manage that relationship either. Because it should be up to the mom to really. This is some psychology bullshit. Like, I feel like I need to go to the therapist now. Yeah. But like, you know, it's like it's very deep rooted issues that she has with her mom. Yeah. So that's her mom. Moving on to Emma Krellin, which is her half sister. So as we mentioned, between episode 1, we don't really know who she is. You see her as like this girl around town rollerblading all the time. Those old school rollerblades. Yeah. But you don't know who she is. She's just like some girl around town, like Camille, like she's being made fun of by like this girl. Camille's like, what the fuck who is this girl? And then she literally rolls in. She comes down the stairs and she's like, oh, hey. And she's like wearing a pretty cute like summer dress. Yeah. And like she's obviously living this like double life, like hiding it all from her mom. So Camille like just like rolls her out. She's like, bitch, I've been done doing that from time. And Emma admits it to her in the first episode. She was like, she doesn't say I'm a bad person. She's like, I'm just like you, but like mom doesn't know that about me. Yeah. Whereas like Camille, like she never like hid it. She was like, I am a wild child, period.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think like a part of Emma is jealous of Camille in that sense that like Camille could always be who she always was. Whereas like Emma's like fighting this like duality where she's like the good girl at home and like bad girl out on the streets.
Exactly. A freak in the streets.
But yeah, no. And like seeing them together is super cute. Like I love their scenes together because I think she pulls out of Camille something that we don't usually see on screen. Right. And like vice versa. But I also think that like Emma is psycho.
Emma is insane,
she's a psychopath. 100%. So I don't know, Camille, you got some work on your hands.
I don't know. I mean, I think that like it's really interesting that you said that because between Camille and Emma, I think Emma represents like this little sister that she lost, right? Like that
Yeah,
she'll never
yeah.
have again. So she has this affection for her. And on top of that, she looks at Emma and she's like, she's kind of like me too. She's a wild child. She just wants to break free. She knows how crazy her mom is. She just doesn't know how to like manage it. So
Yeah.
she manages it in her own way. So they have a really interesting relationship, even though she's been in like town for like a week. Like I just feel like there's this very interesting thing. Even in the last 2 episodes where she like gets drunk and she sees her outside and she puts a lollipop in her hair, like there's this very like, she's very destructive. Emma's very destructive. There's this side of her that's
a moment
like,
that was very dark.
Yeah,
that was
for
a very
sure.
dark moment.
And that's why I feel, listening and talking to you about it more, that she has something to do with this murder or these murders. Like she either like wasn't the one that did it, but maybe she baited her friends out.
Something.
Like she must have done
too
something.
sketched to not be involved.
100%. Like, or maybe she like wanted to get back at her friends and she like hired that teacher to like do it all for her.
Yeah.
Like there is something with her. I don't know what it is, but like we're gonna find out by the finale. But like there's something there. There's something there. And yeah, we talked about her being the potential person who potentially killed Natalie and Anne, but also like her relationship with her mom, which is like completely opposite.
One of my favorite moments was like that Tupac song.
Yeah, which was so random.
It was so random, but I loved it because it was so out of place in this show. And just them dancing together, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
And like even I love how like Camille came around and she was like, what the
She's
F?
like, damn
like,
it.
What the
She's
hell?
like, I never had that kind of relationship.
So I'm just wondering, I'm curious, like why are those two relationships so different? Is it truly because Emma and Adora are the exact same person and so they vibe perfectly together, whereas like Camille is like this like outsider? She's always been an outsider,
right?
There has to be something there to say. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that moment definitely just underscored the huge contrast between those relationships. Like I think that like, you know, Camille, like Emma can literally like, do no wrong. Like do no wrong. And
Adora's like completely different with her. That's the thing. Like,
and it kills me because Adora like is turning such a blind eye to the fact that she's drunk AF, like, or she's hungover AF, like the next day while she's braiding her hair.
Yeah.
And Camille's like, she's like, why did you come home late? Like you fucking like drunk, whatever. And like she's like, Emma was like literally with me. Like I literally took her home and saw her drinking. Like it's very much like the worst possible scenario you can have for like an older sibling. If you are an older sibling, you know exactly how this feels. Like the fact that the little baby always gets away with everything and you always have to protect them. You always have to like make sure they're okay. Like I had to do that for my brother.
Yeah. Like
when there was like, anyway, whatever. I don't want to get into it. Like, yeah, everybody has that relationship with their siblings, and Emma's definitely taking advantage of that. But I don't think like it's obviously not fair because I feel like Camille's already hurting. She has no one on her side.
Episode 4, there was a lot of like shots of her, like Camille, in her memory, I think, wanting her mother's affection and wanting her mother's attention too. You see them in the little flashbacks and they're like, no, your mom can't talk to you right now, you know your mom's busy right now,
like even away. On her birthday,
like everything. There was moments where like she wanted to be with her mom and her mom wasn't there. And like we see that in the other episodes too, but in the for the sister's funeral. Yeah. And she
literally lies down in her mom's lap and her mom like pushes her away.
She literally took her mom's eyelash that was like on the paper
and like stroked it on her face.
Her eyelash. Like what does that tell you about someone that like she wants her mom and she just doesn't have her ever. So of course you're going to be messed up after that.
For sure.
So
the way they dramatize
like,
it's like, whew, that is some
mommy
relationship.
Issues.
And like, which is no surprise when you realize that she's got such a dark past, and she like, you know, she puts a lot of hurt on on herself.
Yeah. But anyways, that's Emma.
That's Emma. This family's just shaping up.
So at the end of episode 4, do you think she's gonna get abducted, or do you think it's just someone else that we don't know?
I don't know, man. I feel like just talking to you about it in the last 24 hours, I'm like, it could go either way. We'll see episode 5. We'll see.
This is on the last battery, eh?
Is it?
Yeah.
That's okay. We'll get more.
I think we'll go.
Let's keep going.
Okay, so the next one up is Alan.
Alan Crowlin.
Crowlin, married to Adora Crowlin.
AKA like the...
AKA the silent man. Because like he doesn't talk.
Night. Yeah, for sure.
What did you think about him this episode in episode 4?
Episode 4, well, just like what we've learned about him so far, he seems like to be very much like the bitch boy of the family.
Yeah.
Like,
he likes his music, he likes his alcohol, and like,
Adora just like railroads him in every possible moment.
Yeah.
Like he's very much like the slave to her. Like he's like the yes man. He doesn't know how to like. I'm assuming it's because like he got married into this like big industry. Like he doesn't even know what else to do. He just wants to like play the piano and like listen to music.
But on the other side, I feel like he is a very like sophisticated man as well. I feel like he may be coming for money too.
Right.
Because he makes a comment in this episode where he's like, he books the fact that like Adora's talking to the sheriff.
Yeah.
And he was like, why do you pay more attention to like the civil servants than me?
Oh.
And like you would only say that if you were like upper class, like some rich bitch. Like
right.
You don't call people civil servants. Like
you'd be like,
he might be coming from money too. Who knows? I want to know more about him. I really do.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot to him that we don't know about. And one of the cutest scenes of this episode was when Camille, in her memory, they forget her birthday, but her like him and the
like the maid
have like a cake for her in the kitchen. So
I mean, she denies it, but she like it's still there.
But like they have it there for, so I'm like, okay, he's good then. Like I think he comes from a good place.
But at the same time,
I
don't know.
Adora makes him like messed up,
angry.
Like, I feel like
also like I just like looking at just like looking at his profile and looking at a white man with like broad rim horn rim glasses, like he looks like a serial killer. He's like every type of like
not even serial killer. He's like the
of a serial killer
in a one
in
one man.
But like he's so subservient in the show, and like
totally.
you can tell that he has no power at all. By the end of the episode though, something kind of weird happens with the cuts. He starts screaming in one of the shots. I remember seeing that, like he screams on the porch, and then you see him kind of like lurk into Adora's room.
When he's in his study, he has a gun on the table.
Right.
There's a gun. I don't know what he does with this gun. I don't know why there's a gun. I don't know why they show the gun.
It's like small town America.
No, I think he like has it out though. Like I think that was the reason why. I don't think it's just like lying around.
So you think he's gonna kill
Adora?
Like,
no, he's gonna kill her, but there has to be something linked
her?
to the gun. There, otherwise, why would you show that?
Right.
So he has the gun on the table, and then he goes upstairs to her room when she's sleeping.
Right.
He opens the door and he looks very evil. Like.
But I think he's just like he wants to take advantage of his wife. At
yeah,
that point,
maybe.
Because she's like, screw off. I'm not gonna sleep with you.
Yeah.
Because he's like horny, like this poor man.
He was insinuating that right before. He was like, "Are we gonna go to bed or whatever?"
Yeah, he's like, "Do you need any of my services tonight?" And she's like, "No, we're good." Like, good night. Go away. And so he's just getting shafted. Like, and so is his penis. So like, I feel for him. Whatever. What are you gonna do? So he's, I don't know. Do you think that he could be a suspect at all?
I don't know.
Like, do you think that he has it in him to murder two women or two girls?
I don't know. From that memory, like from him making a cake for her, like I feel like that speaks volumes that like this man really does want to do good. I think he means well. I don't know if he's capable of murder.
See, here's the thing, right? Like there's Amma and then there's Camille, and they're the daughters that can't get away from Adora. He has every opportunity to be like, you're fucking crazy, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
But he never decides to do that.
Yeah, who knows?
So you have to really question like what his motive is. Like why is he still in this relationship?
Yeah, that's
true. Like is he like a God-fearing man who like doesn't believe in divorce and that's why he's with her? Or is he just like, like sticking around because he actually loves her? Like what is the situation? Because that is dysfunctional.
I think with Adora, there's something she has some effect on men. I feel like when men like are with her, they're like blown away by her beauty or whatever.
Right. And her charm.
And like I feel like she has this power.
But like after all those years of seeing how you mistreat your kids, like I don't know, like
that's true. I don't know.
Because he also supports her in so many ways. He says that he's like, you're doing the best you can to take care of your kids. At one point in time, she's like, oh, I'm such a bad mom, and he was like, you're just doing what you can. He doesn't say you're the best mom ever, but he says like you're doing what you're able to do. Like what are you gonna do? So he doesn't really like bat for her, but at the same time, like. I don't know. I guess I've never been married that long, so I have no idea like what that kind of love is. But he's dedicated to her in some regard. But we'll see what happens by episode 5 because like maybe she's gonna get it in more than one way. Yeah, like we will see.
Okay, so next is the chief, Bill Vickeray.
So is he just useless or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's just
I
useless.
think he's useless.
I think he just doesn't know. He's very much the typical like
He's not that he's
small
useless.
town.
He's definitely suspicious of of Adora and her girls, one hundo.
Right.
Like he knows there's something up, and the fact that he went to Jackie and was like, "Tell me more about these girls. Like, what's going on?"
So Jackie's the best friend or the old best friend
Like
of
an old
Camille,
best friend of Camille,
right?
or like the mom's friend, but like Camille's friend.
Do you think that she has anything to play in this whole storyline?
God, oh my God, I don't know. I don't know.
Like she seems like an innocent drunk, but like who knows at this
My
point?
question
She's
is
also like
there's something
she's
in
like
that,
a
right?
pathological liar.
Yeah, there's something in that. Like, why is he going up to her and being like, "Tell me more"? So
Right.
she does know. She
Something.
knows shit for sure.
But also she embellishes, so like who knows?
Yeah,
like
who knows?
she's not even a trustworthy person.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know why she's in the story at this point. Like I have no idea.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. It's very interesting to see like these characters being played. You never know with a murder mystery like how important a character is. So you have to like literally pay attention to everybody.
I feel like the women like pay attention to like every single woman in the show.
That's what I mean. Like I just feel like they're there for a reason.
Everybody sketch. Moving on to John Keane, who is Natalie Keane's brother, who is the girl that we see dead in the first episode, was it?
No. Second.
So John is sort of pitted as like the suspect, the main suspect in town, because they think that he killed.
Everybody thinks that he murdered his sister.
And one of the reasons, which is the dumbest reason why, which is why small towns get a bad rap, is that the fact that like everyone's talking shit about him, that he's like so emotional and he's like crying, like he must have done it. Or
he had
like,
a very creepishly like close relationship with his sister. Like
is he like
like
what's like there must have been weird about that. Like it's his sister. Like can he not be sad about his sister being dead?
That being said, we do see a moment where the girlfriend is in his room and he's like very distraught and he like leaves and he goes to like we find out later that he's like going to find like a new spider for his sister, but she ends up having to clean up like a blotch of blood.
Yeah.
So we're not really sure where that is coming from or like what that is. But it was a really quick shot, and I like don't know where it came from.
If you guys know what that is and what that's supposed to be,
or if like what your theories are, let us know. Because
right before that, he works at the pig farm, and he gets fired. Randomly gets fired.
Right.
I guess Adora was behind that.
Right.
Can you guys let us know why he gets fired? I know they say it, but I don't remember what it was. Like he's either doing something at the pig farm. They know he's doing something, or he's helping Amma do something at the pig farm. I don't know what it is. They find something out and they fire him.
There's like, you are being let go.
And so when he sees Camille at the end, he was like, your mom fired me. Like, I don't have a job anymore.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
So that was kind of the start of their conversation.
Do you think that he's guilty at all?
No, I don't. I really don't. I don't.
Yeah. I just want to know what that blood situation is.
Yeah,
like,
I want to know that. Like, is he on his period? Like, I don't know. Like, I didn't get it. And then like the girlfriend like covers it up so quickly. Yeah, she's crazy too. Because
that's very interesting too. Their relationship is like really crazy because she's so doting on him.
Yeah.
She's always like making sure that he's okay, and like she's very much the typical. I think
like, everything has to be perfect, and like
I love the fact that like she wore like her
she's
her like cheerleader outfit
on like the weekend or school was out or whatever.
School was out. She's like I'm
summer.
just feeling spirited today. Like she just wants to be, and Camille like sees right through her. She's like that basic girl that just wants to be like the doting girlfriend. Like she just wants the image of like the perfect boyfriend and the perfect house and the perfect life, whatever. So that was really interesting.
So yeah, I think the biggest thing right now is like the blood on the carpet. Where the F did that come from?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
What does it mean?
Is John more involved? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I also want to talk about Natalie. No. I also want to talk about Anne's daddy. I'm not sure what his name is, but he's like super aggressive. Like, do you think that he could be a suspect still?
No, I feel like all the obvious suspects aren't the actual suspects, because that would be so dumb.
Right.
And also, like, do we even care about him? Whether or not they do shady shit around town, I don't know.
Right.
But like, are they the killers? I don't think so. Because what a like lame story then.
Yeah. And like, it's funny because like all the obvious people, like the chief, like those are his only suspects.
Yeah. So then the chief was right the whole time. Like
it would be stupid if like that would be the case. But yeah, for sure. They're definitely like putting him and John as the two people who could potentially be the murderers, because they're both men. They're both like the ones that can like be filled with rage or whatever. Like
in this day and age, Gillian Flynn's stories you know, something that's sort of like Big Little Lies. It has all to do with women and like these
the power of
powerful
women, the
and
power of
power that
women.
they have and what happens. And so this story definitely has to revolve around women. I don't know who it's going to be. Well, I kind of have a good feeling, it has to come down to that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
If they had help, who knows? Maybe. Yeah, you're right.
But like that's help that they helped manipulate
of course,
too, right?
Of course.
Like we can tell all of these women have power. Emma, like Adora, like even Camille has her own version of power with the detective. So like they're all using their own cunning, and it's not just their sexuality. Like you'd think that it's just like these girls are just wearing scantily clad things. Like they're literally using their wits and their charm to get what they want out of life. Like literally Adora is living the best life. She's like got some like slave man to like fucking rub her feet and cut her fucking apples, and like she's living the best life right now. Like she's controlling everybody, but also she has a really shitty relationship with her daughter, so not so much. Next person on the list is our man, Detective Richard Willis.
Richie Rich.
Dickie. They call him Dick. So yeah, we talked about him a little bit earlier with Camille and his like relationship with her. What do you think his part is in this world, and like what?
I mean, I hope that he's gonna find the killer. I think his part is he gives a perspective of a big city, new generation, new perspective into this old stanky ass town. Right. I think he's that guy. He's the city guy. And he and the sheriff don't get along because they're constantly like arguing about who could be a suspect. You know, the sheriff saying that like, no, it has to be someone who's like passing by town. It's not anyone from this local town. How could anyone from this town do it? And this guy's like, dude, it could be anyone. Like, you don't know. Like, you can't trust anyone. It could be, you know, someone who knew the girl. So like, don't ignore, you know, these signs or whatever. So I think you need his voice along with Camille.
Do you think that his voice is still, since we're talking about the patriarchy, etc., do you think that it's still very male driven, and it's very, one of the big things I think that we should talk about right now, since we're talking about the detective, is the whole idea that who this murderer is. Like, is it a man? Is it a woman?
But right before that, we get into that, he does say, and like what did shock me though, when she was talking about the areas, when she was showing him like where the crime things happen in the forest, and she was like, this is called like the end zone or whatever it was, and he was like, they took advantage of girls here, and he knew right away. He was like, you were one of them, and he was like, you know, that's called rape though, right? And like even she couldn't admit it, but he was like, he was already saying like, you could tell me. So he was very like sensitive about it too, and he doesn't have to be. He can be this really like ignorant like you know, asshole of a detective, but he's not that guy either. You know what I mean? So I feel like I did feel like that sensitive side of him in that moment too. So I do trust him. I do like his character. But yeah, going back to what you were saying about him, and I think what he was focusing on mainly was like in episodes 1, 2, and 3 was like, this has to be a man. The killer has to be a man, because who the F took out this girl's teeth? It takes a lot of strength to do that. It has to be like, he even went and bought like a damn like pig's head, and
he pulled it out. He said it takes like a lot of strength.
So he's like, it takes a lot of strength. This has to be a man.
Right.
And there's so much focus on those words that I'm like, okay, we get it. Right. Is it though?
But it's not. I'm sure of it. Do you think it's a man or a woman?
Well, I think like you were saying, maybe it's both. Maybe you're right. Like maybe like there was help. I don't know, because like that is a very valid point. Like, who carried these bodies? Who took out? Like, you're right. Like, who took out the teeth? But also there's
not to say that women can't murder people.
No,
I'm just saying
like
there's some strength that has to go along with carrying dead bodies or kidnapping people.
Yeah, like this isn't like superhero like strength. Like,
exactly. Unless it's like a group of women.
I don't know.
Like,
what do you think?
I don't know. At this point in time, like, I love the fact that he challenges the sheriff about it a lot. He says like, you don't know what you're talking about. How do you know it's a man? How do you know it's a woman? Like, how are you? Even though he says and he concludes to himself that like it could be a man, he also does have that kind of conversation with.
He's open about everything.
He's open-minded, and I think that's what you were saying too. Like, I think just going back to what you were saying about like being a new generation, being this new perspective coming into this small town, I think that he is gonna add a layer of like.
And like, just take in like you know the normal reaction that a man would have to someone doing that, like to Camille, like getting on him like that, would be like, yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
But he was kind of like taken aback and a little confused, like what's happening right now.
Right.
And then when she did kiss him like passionately after, he was like, oh, okay, we're doing this now though.
We are doing
he was
this.
so
It
like
is
caught
happening.
off guard.
Yeah.
So he's not that, your typical like archetype of like a man. Like,
he's not her protector in any sense of the form. Like, I think they're very like, they're seen in their position very much as equals, even though their first quote unquote date. Yeah. Like even she makes fun of him, and she was like, I think it's pretty twisted that you think this is a date, like me showing you like murder sites or whatever. So
do you want to know more about his life, or are you okay with what we have so far?
I'm okay with who he is right now. I don't think that we need to know too much more about him, because I think he's just like a big town, small town, whatever. But at the same time, I just think that it's really interesting seeing their dynamic, because the traditional dynamic is like the detective talking to the reporter, and like they fall in love and whatever. But like, I just feel like Camille can play just as hard as he can. She's, like, it's very much like a tit for tat kind of thing, where she was like, I'll show you a few things, you answer a few of my questions. Yes, yeah. Like, she's not just doing this
like,
to
you know how this works? He goes, I get it. Okay.
Right.
He's like, I'm playing your game. Okay, I get it. Like,
so I think it's a great relationship that they have right now, and they're making it feel very not just organic, but also like new age. It's not just like a typical story about
for sure.
A detective falling in love with a reporter.
So I'm asking you and our audience.
Yeah.
Are we down for a love story?
Yeah, just based on what we were talking about, I think that if it falls naturally in within the story, like, is the finale going to be them like wedding bells and them getting married? No, absolutely not. Like, if at the very end he's like, "Can I ask you on a date?" She'll be like, and like that could be cute. Yeah.
Or
I'd be into that. But
he somehow like heals her, or
I don't think I'd go that far. Just because like I just feel like he's a great character.
Not heals her, but like she's not as dark anymore. She starts wearing white.
I think that we're just going back to that whole idea of like, and this is probably going super, super deep, but like that whole idea of like men saving women all the time.
Not that he's saving her, but I think he's letting her see a different perspective in herself. Not that he saves her.
But I think that she's almost doing that on her own too.
Yeah, maybe too.
I feel like
that's true.
I feel like in so many ways she's using him just as he's using her. Like, that's what I said. Like, it's very like equal in playing, where like he's getting information from her, but like she's doing it just as much as he is, and she's discovering things all on her own. Like, she found out about Emma being a potential person before even he did, and she didn't like call him up, be like, I need your help, like this is what I need from you. Like, that's what I mean. This the way this story is being told, the way these characters are placed, are, even though she's such a vulnerable, hurt, and like, she's a broken human being, Camille is very much pitted as the protagonist. It's not the detective. No. And I'm very interested in seeing how they pursue her role in that. Let's get into our recap roundups.
Recap roundups.
Best moment.
What was your best moment?
My best moment was the Amma and Adora Tupac moment, because I was like, I love that song. I love my mom. And it was just a cute moment to see them together. True. It was so different. And to see Adora in that moment, I was like, yo, so she's capable, like, obviously.
She's capable of love, yeah, for sure.
So it's like, what happened?
She just don't love Camille.
Yeah.
My best moment, and this was in episode 3 mostly, but it was the whole thing with like Camille and the girl that she meets in rehab.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really powerful story, and like
we didn't talk much about that, but yeah.
We didn't talk much about it, but like I think it was very you now understand kind of like why she keeps going back to that moment and why it keeps kind of triggering her, because I feel like young girls and not being able to save them
her more than her sister dying.
I think it's all an amalgamation. I feel like the sister dying happened so long ago that like this most recent one might have happened in the past like 4 or 5 years, because she's an adult.
Yeah, I want to know like what happened.
I just don't know like what that means, and like I just feel like at the end of the day, that relationship seemed very powerful, and her feeling so powerless when she ends up killing herself. It's just like that'll leave a scar for sure.
For sure.
So yeah, it was it was a beautiful moment to watch. Like the whole escaping with the music, like, and the fact that she still listens to music. It was a very beautiful small story within this story.
Yeah. WTF moment. My WTF moment was the fingering in the forest.
The fingering.
I think it caught me out so off guard.
Yeah, it was so.
And I was watching it on the train, and I was like, do I pause or fast forward at this point? Yeah, I just it caught me off guard. Not that I didn't want it to happen. Like I think like I want to see them together. But like it was just very like boom boom.
It was
and just realizing where her thing came from. Like she saw those violent images and like she got turned on.
Yeah,
that's really fucked up. Like
that's some dark shit.
Some dark shit, girl.
Yeah, I agree. But my WTF moment is the ending of episode 4, where Emma literally, like, you just see the flash of her in the car, and I'm just like, ooh.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
you're like, girl, your helmet? Where'd your helmet go?
Yeah.
She's like just worried about her head.
Yeah, I'm just like, safety first. I think it's one of those moments where, like, I literally had to go back and talk to you afterward and be like, is she a part of this? Is she a victim? Is she the killer? Like, what's going to happen?
MVP.
Who's your MVP?
My MVP is obviously going to be, at this point, Camille.
Do it.
Just because she's the main star of the show.
Yeah.
And I think she's going to end up being, like, the heroine of the season. So, like, I'm down to see, like, where that goes.
Right. My MVP of this 1 to 4 is going to be go up one more step and see the boss man. Because I feel like so this is
who?
Camille's boss.
Yes. Her like journalist boss.
And only because like I think that he's got like a larger purpose, and I think it's just to kind of push her to become this stronger person.
Yeah.
I don't know what his
I
full
feel like
role's
he's
gonna
more
be.
of a parent than freaking Adora was.
Yeah, 100%. I just think that like he's kind of playing like a really cool, like, do this, girl. I support you.
Yeah. He's pushing her for sure. And like even his wife is like, can you stop calling her? And he's like, no, like I want her to like fix herself. Like,
yeah, he's
if I'm not
character.
Here one day, like she should take care of herself. Like maybe he's her dad. I don't know.
LVP.
My LVP is Adora, just because I think she's a crazy ass
psycho. Yeah.
I don't know, like I don't even like her. Like it's not even like I like her. She's just a gross person. She's a sad person. I don't know if I want to know more about her. I think I'm good with whatever I have. And now I just want to see it all end and like come to a close.
Right. I mean, I think that she's intriguing because I always want to know like why the villains are the way they are. But it
is because of that. Like she probably didn't have a normal life either.
She's just fucked up.
It's always a chain, guys. Yeah. It's always a chain.
Psychology. My LVP is gonna go to Emma because I just feel like she is being irresponsible. Like I just think
she's not wearing a helmet when she rollerblading.
She's not wearing a helmet. She's going out at night. She's drinking. Like I just think that she's, if she isn't the murderer and feeling like completely like untouchable, she's definitely putting herself in danger. So if she does get kidnapped, I'll be like, you idiot.
Very true.
The best line.
What's your best line?
My best line is when the chief is talking to Adora. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I know, he goes, one of them, but your daughters, he's like, one of them is dangerous and the other is in danger. So he's talking about like Emma and Camille, obviously. But I feel like the obvious understanding is like, oh yeah, he means like Camille is dangerous and like Emma's like in danger. But I feel like it was such a like
it's very much like a writer.
It was like a mindfuck of a line, and it's like it's gonna end up being the opposite.
Yeah, and we can definitely see that kind of like unfolding now.
Yeah.
I don't really have a best line. It is really well written, but I just didn't really write anything down. I just think that it's a great show on a general level, so I couldn't choose. Yeah. It's a good show.
He's like, I did so many.
I so many of them. I have nothing.
Yeah, but it's a really, really, I'm not gonna say beautiful, because like, there's some very jarring like images in there that like makes my stomach hurt, but it's a good show. And it's a murder mystery that I want to get to the bottom of. Sure. And it's
like perfect for the end of summer. Like very like it feels hot, just like it is in Wind Gap. Like I'm just like, oh god.
Yeah.
Got my like fan blaring in my apartment while I'm watching it.
Yeah.
It's a great show. I'm really excited to see what happens next. Let us know what you guys think about the series so far. Who do you think it is without spoiling it for anybody who's read the book?
Yeah.
Like dive in the conversation. We definitely want to know what you guys are thinking right now. What do you think of the style of the show? Do you think that for you book readers who just want to delve in and talk about like the style of the show, is it staying true to the books right now? Are there things that they've changed? Do you think that they're going to change the ending because it's an adaptation? Like, are we going to get like
any questions you have?
Like everything.
Like literally anything. Like, what's for dinner tonight? Just ask us. I'll tell you.
Comment below, and of course make sure you guys subscribe, like follow us, like us on
make
everything.
sure you like the video, because we really want to know if we're doing a good job, if we suck like hell, and we're very confusing, but just let us know, like the video.
That's it.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.